Hey guys, Guy Shed here and welcome. So today I thought I'd go through the answers for the 1,000 subscriber Q&A. Hopefully you'll notice a few little differences. There's no camera shaking, that's because I've treated myself to a little tripod. Previously I've either been holding my phone or I've been stacking my little camcorder on top of various different things, such as like my computer box and then a speaker and then a block of wood to try and get the right height to make it all balance. But yeah, hopefully this will make it a little bit easier, and also some videos that I want to do off the bike as well will make things a little bit easier with a little tripod. The other thing that you may notice is the sound hopefully is a little bit better, because thanks to Hippo Drones, he recommended a little Tascam thing. Sorry, try not to touch the mic, I forget it gets a little bit bigger. So I've invested in some little bits, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll give a bit of better production value to the videos. As I said a few weeks ago, I put out a video with some questions on, and I've got a few questions here, and I think I've got one on Instagram as well. So let's load that up. So firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that has submitted a question. So in no particular order, just the way they appear on my phone. First question was from Woman Wolf Rider. She asks, I know you wish to try off-roading, but would you consider track days, as I have found them useful, especially the instructed ones? Yeah, I would like to try a track day. The same reason, I suppose, that I want to try off-road riding. I mean, part of the reason is off-road riding is it helps, it means you can go on slightly more adventures and stuff, but for me, the main benefit is it aids my road riding, and it's the same with a track day as well. You learn the limits of the bike, what you can do. Plus, I really like speed, and if you've ridden with me, you know I'm not the fastest rider. The reason for that is just because it's a road. You know, you never know what's around the corner. There could be a pothole, there could be a cow pat, a horse turd, there could be a car slightly clipping a corner. You never know what's around the corner, so I try not to go too gung-ho on the roads, which is specifically why I keep buying 650s, because otherwise I get carried away. But yeah, I would love to try a track day. I would specifically like to try one where I don't have to use my own bike, because that's a concern, but also one with an instructor. I think it would be much more beneficial, especially the first couple, to have someone show me the ropes and the correct techniques and things, rather than barreling into a corner and not being able to get around it. I think it would be much better to get someone to show me who knows what they're doing. My only sort of hesitation with track days in general is, you know, you can pay all this money to go on one and then it can rain and it can be cancelled after half an hour and you won't get your money back. So yeah, but no, I'd like to try the instructor thing. One of the guys I work with actually sort of teaches sometimes, hasn't done it for a couple of years, at the Ron Haslam School, and he was saying how beneficial it would be, and it has really got me thinking it's definitely something I want to do on my list. Next question, Cyanide Babe. What's the scariest bike you've ever ridden? Ooh, I don't really get scared on bikes. I don't get scared on bikes at all. Like, it's not the bike that scares me. So, I mean, like, I've ridden S1000 XR's the most powerful bike I've ridden, but that's packed full of technology. Z900's the most powerful I've ridden with no technology. But I wouldn't say they scared me. The thing that scares me about bikes isn't the actual bike itself or the speed of it, it's the circumstances in which you're riding. So for example, the last time I was scared on a bike was riding up Hard Knot Pass, and that was on my V-Strom, and you know, the weather was fine, it was absolutely okay, but it was, I'm trying to think, was it about July time, August time in the Lake District, and it was heaving with traffic, loads of cars coming down the road, and I got very apprehensive, not necessarily scared, by the fact that on Hard Knot Pass, if you've ever been up it, it's really steep, and with quite a few switchbacks, and the switchbacks, the camber's really cambered. And my concern is on my V-Strom, because I'm vertically challenged, that I couldn't get my foot down if a car came round, which would probably lead me to dropping the bike. So that sort of scared me. Yeah, I don't think there's actually a bike that scared me in itself. I think one of the worst rides I ever had was riding Dad's S1000XR, and it's not a criticism of the bike, it's just those circumstances, was he hit a pheasant at 60 miles an hour, it punched the speedo out, and a load of the front was a little bit mangled, the indicators were okay and stuff like that, but I basically had to ride it to the dealership because he was away for business. It was the fact of riding a bike that wasn't mine, worth a fair amount of money. I was only insured third party, and also they're really tall. I struggled to tiptoe it. So it was more the fact that it wasn't my bike and I struggled to reach the ground on it, was, oh shit, I'm going to drop it. So that's sort of the most apprehensive I've ever been on a bike. But no, a bike in itself hasn't scared me. I like powerful vehicles and powerful cars and bikes and things like that. So it's not the speed that scares me, it's the circumstance in which you're riding the bike that scares me. Maybe I'm not riding hard enough or something, but yeah. Wolfie Picks, he's asked 4 questions. Question 1, dream bike. I don't really have a dream bike. There's not like one bike that I really want to own. There's a few. I mean, the bike that I dream about riding, so, you know, when you're off sort of daydreaming thinking about bikes, I would say it's a Royal Enfield Himalayan. I often think, oh, it'd be amazing to go off around the world and travel and things like that, and that is very much my dream in life, is to ride a motorbike around the world. And I could see myself doing that on a Himalayan, but absolute sort of dream, what would I love to have in the garage? It wouldn't be my only bike by any means, probably one of the Norton, is it the SS, the all aluminium one? It sounds incredible, and yeah, there's basically no way I'm ever going to own one, so I'll dream about that one. Question 2, again from Wolfie Picks. If you had a time machine, where would you go and why? I'd like to go to 1920s America. I think it's an incredible piece of history where there's so much development and so much change, and just so many incredible things happened in that period of time. You know, you have things like household items starting to be electrified, like vacuum cleaners, things like that. It's nothing that we get excited about today, but in its time it was completely revolutionary. You've got Henry Ford starting off with mass production. You've got Prohibition kicking in, and my favourite person in history is Al Capone. Not necessarily because he was a really nice chap, but I just find that whole 1920s mafioso world just incredibly interesting. And I'd like to see that. And also I loved the sort of 1920s cars at the time, the idea that, and I think more companies should do this, where you basically buy an engine and a chassis and a gearbox, and then you have a coach builder build the bodywork. So, you know, there's very few cars of that time where you've got true replicas of cars. Everyone is slightly different. But I just think it's a period in time where you have the huge excitement of all this new development and the new technology, and, you know, the recovery after the First World War. But then you have the Great Depression, and you have various factors in that. I think there's so much going on in that time period that it's incredible, really incredible, and it really is my sort of favourite time period in history. So 1920s America. What is best, bike or car? I mean, a car is infinitely better in terms of they're cheaper to run than bikes, they're much more practical, cheaper to buy, cheaper to insure, you don't get wet. So in like everyday life, a car is better, but a bike is more fun, so I'm going bike. And question 4 and the last one from Wolfie Picks, favourite road you've been to or would like to ride on? I'm going to have to Google Maps it. Right, favourite road I've ridden on, sorry, like I said, I had to Google Maps it, would be one in Switzerland that I rode that basically runs from near Interlaken to a place called Aigle, and it is stunning. It is just side to side sweepy, quite a fast road, good sight lines, plenty of there's overtaking space, etc. And on just Google Maps it just says 11, so I presume it's called Route 11. I I think that's got to be one of my favourites. My favourite in the UK would be Kyle of the Couch to Invagari, which was so good I actually rode back and did it again. Willswood69 asks, congrats on 1,000 subs, couple of questions for you. How are you after illness, and have you come to terms with hearing loss? I bet that was hard. And there's another one as well. So by illness, I'm guessing you mean tumour. Those of you that don't know, long story, had a tumour, benign tumour between my brain and my ear. They cut it off, removed it with surgery, but as a result lost my hearing in my left ear. Yeah, all good. I'm as healed as I'm ever going to be. I have come to terms with it in terms of it doesn't really bother me. It does have some funny side effects. I look drunk after one thing of beer. I start stumbling because my balance goes. Like, my head's not fuzzy or anything. I'm not actually drunk. My balance starts going. But no, I mean, I've got used to it. In terms of like, if we go out, I don't like loud spaces, so I struggle in the workshop and things like that. And it's easier, I suppose, when you're around people that you know, because you don't feel so bad of going, do you mind if we go stand over there so I can hear what you're saying, rather than just going, pardon. So yeah, all good. I miss listening to music. Music doesn't sound the same when you only have one ear. I used to love that feeling. I found it very therapeutic when you're listening to music with headphones on and you shut your eyes and you can feel it going around the back of your head. I mean, I was never a massive sort of party goer, pub goer. It tends to be loud environments where I struggle, but I've got pretty good lip reading, so yeah, I use that. And second question, how's Bex88? Do you keep in touch? Why isn't she posting anymore? Loved her channel. Bex is good, I think. I haven't spoken to Bex for about 10 months. Like a lot of us, she keeps her personal life and her YouTube/motorbiking life completely separate. I'm the same. So for example, I have 2 Facebook accounts. One, and I know a few other people do, and I have 2 full sets of social media, one for personal stuff, one for YouTube-y, motorbikey stuff, and there's no crossover between the 2. So I think as she's used her bike less and less, she's used that side of her Facebook and social media. But I spoke to someone who's spoken to her recently and she's on really good form, and she's just really busy with life. She's got loads of other things going on and busy with work and etc. So I don't think it's necessarily a conscious decision of hers to stop making content. It's just life's busy for her at the moment. I'm sure she'll be around and she'll resurface out of the blue at some point. She always does. Brad BMW RS, have you ever gone camping with your motorcycle, and if so, did you enjoy it? Yes. Yeah, so what I didn't really capture on camera, especially during my European trip, was my European trip. I actually spent most of my time camping. I stayed in a hotel or a B&B every 4th night, but every other night apart from that I was camping, and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with being on the road within, I think it was about the 3rd or 4th day of the 14-day trip, and it was just that excitement of you don't have to worry about anything apart from where am I going to get fuel, where am I going to get food, where am I going to sleep. And when you got a tent on the back, while camping in Europe's legal, although I used campsites, I fell in love with it, of just, you know, getting in, setting up your tent, do a few bits and pieces, cook your dinner, read a book, plan your routes for the next day, etc. Especially when you're doing it for a few, like, you don't get it as much. Like, I went down to Cheddar Gorge, camped one night and came back. I mean, that was good. I really enjoyed it, but it didn't impact me in the same way of 2 weeks on the road, which was just, life started to become incredibly simple. I really loved that. There was no stress or anything. As I say, you pitch up, you cook your dinner, you set up your tent, do your washing, more often than not a dry bag and a hose pipe. I think it makes you realise, like, how much stuff you have in your life and how many possessions that you have that you don't really need. It was very odd, and I had everything on my bike that I needed, but I absolutely love motorcycle camping, and I would highly recommend it to anyone, especially if you're doing, rather than staying in like one place. I mean, if you're staying in one place, it's okay, but if you're doing a route and you're stopping somewhere every single night, I would much rather camp than I would stay in a B&B, and I did B&Bs all the way around Scotland. I would rather, now in hindsight, I'd rather camp. It just feels more of an adventure. Dale and Joy explores. Would you come to Wales? Yeah, I spend a lot of time in Wales. I go maybe twice a year for either a long weekend or a few days. My uncle lives on the Welsh border and has a campsite in Wales, so I try and go and see him at least once a year. And I just love Wales. The food's good, the people are really nice, the views are amazing. Welsh roads are unbelievable. I actually prefer Welsh roads to Scottish roads. Yeah, I absolutely love Wales. So yes, I would go to Wales. I do go to Wales and I love it. Hippo Drones, he's asked for a few different questions. Crinkly or straight cut oven chips? Straight cut oven chips. However, if you're in a pub and there's curly fries, I'm having curly fries. Curly fries are the best. A motorbike that can only turn left, or a motorbike that can only turn right at junctions? Motorbike that can only turn left, or else you're screwed when you get to a roundabout and you just ride round for the rest of your life in circles. Only go left, plus I'm left-handed, left is better. Again from Hippo Drones, if you could have one of each genre of motorbike, what would be in your virtual garage? Sports bike, I'd probably go for that Norton, even though I've never ridden one. Just because it sounds like thunder. Naked bike wise, Z900. Adventure bike, V-Strom 650. Off-road bike, I'm guessing I'm not allowed to count a Himalayan, which is the strong contender for a V-Strom under the adventure bike category. If I can have a Himalayan as off-road bike, then I'd have a Himalayan. If I can't have a Himalayan as off-road bike, I'd go Honda CRF 250, just because I not necessarily want to jump it or whatever. I think they're excellent travel bikes in terms of you can fit bigger tanks on them, luggage, everything you possibly need. So I'd go Honda CRF 250. And they also have big service intervals. It's about every 8,000 miles. So ideal travelling bike. That's the only reason I want an off-road bike. If I couldn't have the Himalayan as the off-road bike, then CRF 250L. Oh, it'd be a tough choice between a V-Strom and my Himalayan under an adventure bike if I couldn't have the Himalayan as off-road bike. So we've done sports bike, naked bike, cruiser. I'm just doing the big ones here. Cruiser, I don't really like cruisers. There's only one cruiser I actually like, which is Hepcat Harley's Softail Slim. It's the only sort of cruisery Harley bike I like. I wouldn't have that, I'd sell it and get a couple of extra from the above classes. I've never actually ridden one. I quite want to ride a Harley at some point, see what the fuss is about. So the only other question I am aware of is Hippo Drones asked another one on Instagram. So the only remaining question was on Instagram by Hippo Drones, which is, if motorcycles were sail powered, would I dress like a pirate? And the answer is no. It would still hurt a lot if you came off. So no, I wouldn't. Although interestingly enough, I have almost sailed down a road, and I say almost, basically my brother and I, when we were growing up, we both learned to sail. We had a little sailing dinghy that we used to sail out, and in Norfolk there's a certain road down to a beach where at high tide the road floods, and in the spring tides, when the tides are at their highest, there's a couple of days where over the road it is a couple of feet deep, and we were going to look at sailing our little Laser Pico dinghy down the beach road, which was about a mile long. Anyway, so we came up with this idea in summer holidays, but we knew we needed to wait for spring tide. And then in that following spring, we sold the little Pico and bought a Laser 3000 dinghy. We didn't want to risk it with that because it was worth a lot more money. A Pico, you know, you can drag up a gravelly shoreline, doesn't really matter. It's made of thick, like thick plastic, whereas the 3000 is lightweight, hull, etc., and you just damage it. So the risk was too great of damaging the boat or the dagger board to sail it down the road. So we never actually managed to do it, but we were going to borrow a friend's boat and do it in theirs because they had another Pico. Just never got around to it. Yeah, we'll have to do that at some point. But yeah, so no, I wouldn't dress like a pilot, but yes, I would like to sail a boat down the road. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you ever so much for all your questions, really appreciate it. And as always, I love the creativity in them. So thank you ever so much. And thanks for subscribing and enjoying my content, and there's lots more to come. I've got lots of different ideas for videos, both on bike and off bike. Don't worry, all motorcycle related. But yeah, thank you ever so much and take care.